afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Across the Fence. I'm Jolie Whitney. Happy August 1st, and it so happens that today is also the first Thursday of the month, which means we're saying yes, chef, to Marco Ayala. The theme of this month's recipe program is budget-friendly meal planning. As we all know, prices are up everywhere, especially in the grocery store. Marco's crunched the numbers and come up with some budget-friendly, yet no less tasty, recipes for this month. What's cooking, Marco?
Thank you, Jolie. Hi, I'm Marco Ayala, and I'm here to share another recipe with all of you. And I want to thank you, as I usually do, for giving me the opportunity to come into your living rooms, come into your kitchen, and share this segment with you. Every year I select a month, and I select a few recipes that are budget friendly. So whether you're in a fixed income, whether you have a large family, whether you're trying to save, I think it's very important to try to save some money, because honestly, I've never heard anyone say, I have way too much money, I am just gonna spend a lot on food. So let me show you my first recipe. This is teriyaki meatball rice bowl. What you're about to find out is that this sauce, for the teriyaki sauce, is not store-bought. It's actually made from scratch. And as I mentioned, it's a great recipe that is very filling. It's going to serve 4 people, and it comes at a very few dollars per bowl. So let me tell you how to put it together. First, you're going to take 1 pound ground pork and you're going to transfer it to a bowl. Then you're going to add 1 large egg, half a cup breadcrumbs, 1 clove garlic, half a teaspoon soy sauce, 1 teaspoon grated fresh ginger, and 2 chopped green onions. Then you're going to mix all the ingredients. Then you're going to divide and shape the meatball mixture into ping pong sized balls on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. You're going to get anywhere from 16 to about 20 meatballs from the mixture. And you're going to bake them at 400 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes, or until they're golden brown and they have reached an internal temperature of at least 160 degrees. And once the meatballs come out, look at how they're perfectly browned. And just like that, you have a very tasty meatball that is perfect for this recipe, or that is pretty good for other recipes. Remember, always make a recipe your own. Then, for the rice, to a sauce pot, you're going to add 2 cups of water and place it over medium-high heat. Once the water starts boiling, you're going to add 1 cup jasmine rice and add some of the seasonings of your preference. Mix it well, cover the pot, reduce the heat to low, and let it simmer for about 15 minutes. Once the water is gone, remove it from the heat. Then after 5 minutes, uncover it and fluff the rice. And while the rice is getting cooked, you can actually start the teriyaki sauce, because it's so easy to make and it takes no time at all. To a large saucepan over a medium-high heat, you're going to add 1 cup water, half a cup soy sauce, half a cup brown sugar, 2 teaspoons fresh ginger, and 2 cloves garlic. Then you're going to add 2 tablespoons cornstarch, and make sure that it's all dissolved and that there is no lumps left. The mixture is going to become cloudy, but don't you worry, just trust the process. Once the liquid starts boiling, you're going to notice that very fast the mixture goes from opaque to glossy, and it starts getting very thick. Then you're going to add your meatballs, coat them well, and make sure they're warm. The preparation time for this recipe is about 20 to 30 minutes. So I made this step by step, but as you know, in the kitchen, you have one pan here, you have the other one going. So the preparation of this recipe goes so much faster. And now let's assemble our bowls. Because I wanted some veggies, I'm gonna steam some broccoli. To assemble the bowls, divide the rice into 4 servings. Add it to a bowl, top it with 4 to 5 meatballs and broccoli. Finally, sprinkle the meatballs with some sesame seed and chopped scallions. To make this recipe, it's about $8.86, which translates as $2.22 per bowl. That's a deal if I have seen one. So now let's move on to our next recipe. So another favorite out there is pasta. It's also a very budget-friendly item because it's very cheap, it has nutrients, and depending on how you make it, it's so versatile. So I wanted to make something that it's still budget-friendly, as I said, really good, but also kind of original. So how about we try a buffalo chicken pasta? Doesn't that look amazing, delicious, and it sounds great? So let me tell you how to put it together. First, you're gonna take one boneless, skinless chicken breast, about 2/3 of a pound, and you're gonna cut it into bite-sized pieces. Transfer it to a bowl, and you're gonna add half a teaspoon garlic powder, half a teaspoon onion powder, half a teaspoon cayenne pepper, and 1/4 teaspoon salt, and mix it well. Then, to a large saucepan, you're gonna add 1 tablespoon cooking oil and 2 tablespoons butter. Once it's hot, you're gonna add your chicken and make sure that it's well browned. Then you're gonna add 1 15-ounce can petite diced tomatoes, 1 15-ounce can chicken broth, and 8 ounces penne pasta. Mix it well and heat it over medium-high heat. Once the liquid starts boiling, cover the pot and let it simmer for 10 to 15 minutes. And that is another thing that I really love about this recipe, which is, well, basically you're using one pot. So it's less cleanup, which means that you're also saving in water and dish detergent. Once the pasta is tender, you're gonna add 4 ounces cream cheese, a 1/4 cup hot sauce. Mix it well until the pasta is creamy. Remove it from the heat and add half a cup shredded Monterey Jack cheese. Mix it well and it's ready to serve. And I think this is a great take on a classic, which is pasta, and another classic, which is buffalo wings. So look at that. Doesn't that look absolutely delicious? To top it off, we're gonna put some scallions on top. Look at that. Doesn't that look great? You know what? Actually, I'm gonna put it over all of the pasta because why not? We already have them here, right? Now, you're probably wondering, Marco, how much is this pasta going to set me back? Well, you make the whole recipe for about $10, which means that each serving, if you serve 4, is about $2.50. However, if you eat smaller portions, you can easily get 6 portions out of this recipe. So obviously, the more portions, the cheaper it is. So give it a try. Let me know how you like it. Now it's time for dessert, because something that we're not gonna skimp on, even if we're watching our budget, is a good dessert. However, I don't know if this happens to you as well. This happens to me every time I make a recipe that is meant to look pretty. This is going to be a disaster. But most of the time, I'm actually very surprised that it comes out well. And I am happy because you're my witness here. And this is one of those recipes that I was a little worried about, and it came out great. Doesn't that look like stained glass that you will find in a nice church? And I was absolutely stunned at how easy it is to make these cookies. It's really not a cookie, it's more of a candy, if I'm completely honest. But for the sake of argument, we're gonna call it a cookie that is easy to make with just a few ingredients. So let me tell you how I put this together. First, to a large saucepan over medium heat, you're gonna add half a cup butter and 2 cups semi-sweet chocolate chips. Melt the butter and the chocolate chips, stirring it constantly so they incorporate, but watching it closely so it doesn't overcook. And you want to make sure that once the chocolate and the butter are melted and incorporated, that they're not too hot before you add the rest of your ingredients, because you don't want the marshmallows to dissolve. So what you're gonna do is that you're gonna remove it from the heat and you're gonna let it cool until it's just warm to the touch, but it's still flexible. Then you're gonna add half a cup toasted walnuts and 10 ounces pastel miniature marshmallows. Mix it well until all the chocolate is incorporated into the marshmallows. And that is pretty much all the ingredients. So now we have to shape it into a cookie-like situation. And that is actually really easy as well. Then, over a piece of wax paper, you're gonna sprinkle some flaked coconut. Then you're gonna divide the marshmallow mixture into 3 portions and start shaping it into a long roll while coating it with a flaked coconut. Once it's shaped into a long roll, you're gonna wrap it tightly into the wax paper. Once all of your mixture is wrapped in wax paper, you're gonna place them in the fridge for about 2 hours or until firm. And then the rest is super easy. You're gonna take them out of the fridge, unroll them from the wax paper, and you're gonna cut them crosswise into half-inch slices. And that is it. Not only it is a great recipe because it's easy to make and it takes very few ingredients, but also the ingredients that you're using are not expensive. I think this recipe is also great because I think it will be really fun to make with the kids or the grandkids. And these are all of my recipes for this month. I hope you give them all a try. Remember, you can get in touch with us through our social media by going on Facebook, going on Twitter, now known as X, or subscribing to our YouTube channel for Across the Fence so you can get all the incredible content of Across the Fence right on your phone or your computer. And as you also know, all of these recipes are going to be on the UVM extension website in the tab for Across the Fence. And on that note, as I usually say, from my kitchen to your kitchen, happy cooking, enjoy your food, and in this case, save some money while you're making that food. This is excellent. Back to you, Juliet.
Thank you, Chef. I also want to thank the crew behind the scenes here at WCAX who make our visit Across the Fence possible. I'm Julie Whitney. Have a good one.